Maria and Wesley, would you like to go ahead and parents how they can find you if they need a Spanish or Haitian Creole interpreter? Maria, do you want to go first?
Sure. Las instrucciones en español para tener la interpretación en español. Entonces, en los controles para su reunión, haga clic en interpretación. Busque este icono en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Luego, haga clic en el idioma que le gustaría escuchar. Como ven en la pantalla, hay varias posibilidades y pues, elija español. Para escuchar el lenguaje, el otro idioma, haga clic en silenciar audio original, o sea, mute original audio.
Oui, allô, bonsoir, moi c'est Wesley, moi c'est interprète créole pour nous asseoir. Sous ta m'entendez me parler créole, pas d'ailleurs parler anglais. Pas d'ailleurs expliquer le programme, non, tant pour regarder le petit bouton qui est en bas qui dit créole haïtien, en anglais Haitian Creole. Cliquez sur lui pour qu'attendez me expliquer le programme dans créole haïtien. Moi content d'avoir asseoir le programme ça pour comprendre qui ça va passer. Merci.
Great, thanks, Wesley.
No problem.
Okay, we'll start our evening. I want to thank the parents who are on board with us tonight. I would like to make a few announcements. Let me turn my video off. The first announcement is that there's a program that's going to be offered for the first time this fall. It's called Taste of College, and it's through Salisbury University. It's a fall 2022 dual enrollment learning community for rising high school juniors. So that means that if your student is currently a sophomore, then they would be eligible to participate in this program. And this program is going to be a learning community that's especially designed for our rising juniors, current sophomores, that need English 11 credit. So you would enroll in English 103, English Composition and Research for 4 credits. And it meets on Mondays and Wednesdays from 4:30 to 5:45 p.m. in Fulton Hall. Then you will have lunch. Lunch is part of the deal. It's offered to you for free. And then on Monday night, you'll attend a class from 7 to 8:30 through PACE, and which is the Public Affairs and Civic Engagement program. So if you are interested in enrolling in this program, there are limited spots, but please contact your guidance counselor. And the English would take the place of AP English 11, and it's a 1 semester class for the fall of 2022. There are a couple of other opportunities that you will have next year in getting some support with your college applications. And on September 30th, we will be offering the Wicomico County Public Schools College Bootcamp for current seniors for next year. It will be held at Salisbury University. Students will report to school at the regular time, and after attendance is taken, they'll be dismissed to board buses. During that day, you'll be there all day with us at SU. There are certain criteria that you have to meet in order to attend. You have to have a weighted cumulative GPA of 2.75. You have to currently be taking a minimum of 2 honors, AP, or dual enrollment classes, or it can be a combination of those classes. And you have to have taken at least 2 credits of a foreign language, and that includes your senior year. During the college boot camp, we will have some keynote speakers. JJ will be with us once again to talk about the college application process. We're hoping that Johns Hopkins University will be able to join us to talk about writing a winning essay. They have a really good, very informative session that they offer about that. We'll do a panel discussion with admissions counselors from different colleges in our area. You'll get to have lunch at SU. I mean, what more could you ask for? In the dining hall, fabulous food. Then you'll also get a chance to select 3 different breakout sessions. So we would want you to think about where you are in the college application process and which breakout sessions are going to be the most beneficial to you. Maybe you need some extra support on writing your college essay, or maybe you need help with Naviance. Maybe you're trying to figure out what's really the best fit college for me. We'll have a session on that. Writing your resume for college, which is a little bit different than writing a resume for a job. So those are some of the sessions that we'll be offering that you can choose from, and you'll get to choose 3. And then you'll board the buses and head back to school in time for dismissal. So we hope that you'll be able to join us for that. Another opportunity that we're providing support for our seniors next fall is we're offering college essay support. And there will be designated staff members at each of our high schools who, through Google Classroom, you will email the teacher that we will let you know who they are. You'll email the teacher, and then they'll send you the information for Google Classroom, which you'll join. And then you'll communicate by way of Google Classroom. They'll offer tips and suggestions on how you can strengthen your college essay. If you would rather meet with them after school, there's also an opportunity to do that as well. But students this year, 100% in the evaluation surveys said that this was a huge help to them as they were completing their college applications, and especially those college essays, which sometimes can be tricky for people. So we hope that you remember that these opportunities will be available to support you, to support our seniors as you're working through this college application process. So tonight, we're going to start off with Mr. J.J. Remo, who is an admissions counselor at Salisbury University. He's going to talk about the college application process. Then we're going to switch over to Mr. Corey Lowe. He's one of our extraordinary guidance counselors at Wicomico High School. And Mr. Lowe is really stepping up tonight because Mrs. Matthews was supposed to also share information tonight, and unfortunately she's home sick. So we hope that she gets better, but Mr. Lowe is filling in, and he's going to share a lot of really good information that I know Mrs. Matthews would have also covered. So feel free at any time to ask questions in the chat, and we hope you get a lot of good information tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Remo.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Scheller. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. I'm going to be going through a PowerPoint session, PowerPoint presentation. And let me just make sure. Okay, can everybody see that? Perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
And thank you so much for having me again tonight. It is a pleasure to meet you all. Again, my name is JJ Remo. If you ever forget, just look at my Zoom username. It's actually right in my email address. So my email is pretty easy to remember, jjremo@salisbury.edu. And like Ms. Scheller said, I am an admissions counselor at Salisbury. I've been in the admissions office at SU since fall 2018. And I've had the pleasure just this past year of working with the Eastern Shore counties. So I do review for Kent, Queen Anne's, Caroline, Dorchester, Wicomico counties, and then Prince George's and DC. So it's just been a great opportunity to get to know some of the students over this past year. And I look forward to working with you guys coming from Wicomico County as well. And so when you're going to apply to various colleges, my #1 tip is to get to know an admissions counselor if you can. In my position, I try to do everything that I can to get the student, especially if they're looking at Salisbury and they want to be here. I try to do everything that I can in my power to get that student admitted to campus. So we're almost like your closest friend during the admissions process. We know the ins and outs. We're reviewing your application. We're posting the decision. You know, if you get a decision that you're not necessarily happy with, you're going to want to talk to your admissions counselor. I've worked through that process too with students and appealing. And that's one thing to remember. If you are looking at a college, you know, take a look at their admissions staff and see if you might be assigned a specific counselor. Different colleges do different things within their processes, but as far as SU goes, we have 6 admissions counselors, and each of us review for different territories. And like I mentioned before, I've got a handful that I review for. So I look forward to meeting you all throughout the upcoming process. You know, if you're a junior right now, it's going to be really exciting as a senior applying to a number of colleges. So I am going to hone in on the application process, but since I have the time here, I'm going to spend a little bit of time of just going over just a general overview of what Salisbury University has to offer. So here we go. And you guys are always welcome to actually tour campus, and I'll talk about the different visiting opportunities. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the specifics of the location of Salisbury and, you know, what the town has to offer. What I will mention is that downtown Salisbury has really become, we've really built a strong relationship between our university and downtown Salisbury. You may have spent some time going to the downtown Salisbury area, but we have a Salisbury University building right there on Main Street, right on the plaza, and they have an SU art gallery there, and they did just open up this past year our brand new business entrepreneurial center. So it's state of the art, has 8 garage spaces. So we're really growing aspiring entrepreneurs through the business school, and that has become a really awesome space for business students to hang out. And so we are really growing a presence downtown, and not to mention we have a trolley service that runs from our campus to downtown and back, you know, free for students. All right, and so we always push the city of Salisbury. We get students from all over, not just, you know, Wicomico County and across Maryland, but from all around the Mid-Atlantic and beyond. This is a snapshot of our enrollment here at SU. I think one of the things that's important in your college search is you're going to want to find out how big a school is. There are pros and cons to all different types of sizes. You know, if you look at the university state system of Maryland, there's 12 schools in the state system. We're one of them. And you're going to find that Salisbury is one of the medium-sized schools and one of the only medium-sized schools in the state. So we're right at about 8,000 students. You can see there at the top, the total enrollment. So the larger state schools are 25, 30,000. And on the flip side, some schools in Maryland are just a few thousand. So we're in this sweet spot where we like to call ourselves the Goldilocks school, because we're not too big and we're not too small. You know, we're just the right size here at SU. And if you're looking for a school where you can really develop a connection with your professors, Salisbury might be the right fit for you. We have an average class size of 23 students and a 15-to-1 student faculty ratio. So it's a great thing to be able to get to know your professors in the classroom setting, kind of get a network within those classes within your major. But just know that it could be a bad thing because you can't hide in your classes. So if you end up like missing class for whatever reason, your professor is going to know, they're going to email you and, you know, just check up on you. But just know that you're not going to be dropped in a gigantic lecture hall with 300, 400 students like you might find at some of the bigger scale universities. So you're not going to be a number here at Salisbury. You have a real opportunity to be a familiar face. And that was one of the things that I love most as a student. Walking into my classes and my professors actually knew who I was, you know, they greeted me by name. And so I was a familiar face for them. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we are a part of the University State System of Maryland. So we're a public institution and we're one of 12 schools. But I think one of the things that sets us apart is almost our private college feel, even though we're a public school. So yes, that personalized attention you can get, the smaller class sizes, that faculty student engagement, but also we have several private endowments, allowing us to have some really nice, almost big university resources on campus, even though we're a smaller size school. We have a medical simulation center built to replicate a hospital setting. It has full-size high-tech mannequins that bleed, cry, scream, even die if you're not careful. There's a mother mannequin that gives birth to a baby mannequin. They have a full-size cadavra. This is an internal shot of our $120 million library on campus. If you're ever driving, down 13, right across Cookout, you're going to see this library, and it is a top 20 college library in the nation, ranked by the Princeton Review. $120 million building, 4 stories, 220,000 square feet. A lot of students say it's their favorite spot to hang out on campus. So if you ever tour campus, you're going to be walked through this building, but certainly is magnificent, and tons of resources there for our students. All right. In terms of programs, we have 46 majors, 80 plus minors, a handful of master's degrees, 2 doctoral degrees. I want you to know that if you are kind of on the fence with what you want to major in, that's completely fine. When you're applying to Salisbury, you're first just applying for general admission to the university. So we have a set of criteria there that we're looking at. So it doesn't matter which major you select, you're just first applying to Salisbury. Some schools, keep this in mind, might be different. Some have a general admissions process, but they might have a separate application for a specific school. So maybe you're looking at nursing or engineering or business. Other colleges, when you're applying to their colleges, might ask you to apply specifically to that school, and they might have their own set of criteria for that specific major. Here at Salisbury, you're just applying for general admission. So if you apply, you're admitted, and you declared one major on your application, then come to find out, oh, I don't want to do that major. I want to do something else. That's fine. It's not going to affect your admissions decision at all. In fact, our largest major for incoming freshmen is undecided. So that is definitely a popular one. And we call it exploratory studies. It gives you an opportunity to explore what we have on campus. And honestly, you have the first 3 semesters or 45 credits to really figure out what it is that you want to do before added pressures on where you would have to maybe delay a semester in graduating. So you have that first 3 semesters kind of really figure out what it is that you want to do before you're affecting your graduation time. If you are dual enrolling at Salisbury, or maybe at Warwick, or online taking some courses, that's fantastic as well. That will certainly help your graduation credit count. But we're going to take a walk through the various schools at Salisbury. It'll have a list of the majors on the side, so you can take a peek at what we have to offer. This is the Fulton School of Liberal Arts. Pictured here is from our hot glass studio. We're the only school in the state of Maryland that has a hot glass shop right on campus. So if you're in Fulton, you're going to be seeking out arts or fine arts, music, theater, dance, modern foreign language. Psychology is popular. Communication is the biggest major in this school. If you're interested in the STEM realm, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you'd be a Henson student at SU. Biology is our largest major. If you want to go into medicine or veterinary dentistry, you can certainly get that started here at Salisbury. Get your bachelor's first. Engineering, we have a dual degree program there as well. All right, the Purdue School of Business. This is where I spent a lot of my time as a student. I was a business marketing student back at my time at SU. And the name Purdue comes from Purdue. Purdue Farms, they're headquartered in Salisbury, and their founder and their current chairman, Jim, our former alum of Salisbury. You may not know this, but we actually hosted Shark Tank auditions in Purdue. So entrepreneurship has become a large focus on at SU within our business school, and we do our own version of Shark Tank entrepreneurship competitions where students can win up to tens of thousands of dollars. All right. Education has been a staple. We were founded in 1925 as an all-women's teachers college. So you can get your certification from early childhood to elementary, secondary, if you want to teach a specific subject. So if you want to teach English or history, or biology at the middle school, high school age group, you would do, say, history major with a secondary education track. Outdoor education leadership is one that I like to touch on. It's a very unique major. It is offered in a minor, and of course you could do elective courses, but if you're an outdoorsy person, that's a course, that's a program to keep in mind. They do courses like kayaking, backpacking, canoeing, wilderness safety. And finally is the College of Health and Human Services. So if you're the type of person that likes helping people, You know, if you're not sure what major you want to go for, but you know that you like helping others, this school might have the major that's suited for you. Social work is popular. We're rolling out an online program. It's going to be our only online undergraduate bachelor's degree program, rolling out this fall. It leads right into our master's program as well. Exercise science leads to physical therapy, occupational therapy, physician's assistant, medical lab science, also leads to physician's assistant, and nursing is by far one of our most popular majors on campus. I mentioned earlier, we have that medical simulation center. We have strong ties with Tidal Health and other health facilities around Wicomico County. And of course, we boast the highest pass rate on the NCLEX exam in the entire university state system of Maryland. So definitely one of our most successful majors here at SU. I know that I blew through all those 5 schools, but if you're looking to get more specific information and details about different programs, just visit our website, salisbury.edu, search that program. A lot of what I know is found right on the website. If you're looking to get connected with a professor or someone in the department, you can find the contact on the website, or you can just come talk to me and I'd be happy to help get you connected with someone in the department to maybe learn a little bit more about your major, or if you want to come to campus and meet with them in person. They usually like that, so they can take you around campus and show off some of their cool stuff. We do have an honors college, and you'll find, you know, in your college search that various colleges may offer an honors college or an honors program of some sort. And usually being an honors student comes with its own set of perks. Salisbury, same deal. If you're in the honors college, you know, you're only making up about 5 to 10% of the entire student body. You're widely recognized amongst faculty and administration. A lot of the honors students you'll find doing a lot of stuff across campus and volunteer efforts around the community. You get additional scholarship opportunities. You're in small honors classes. You only do a handful, usually during your first 2 years of college. And then you're working on a thesis or some sort of large creative project by the time that you graduate. I think one of the biggest perks for honor students is the priority class registration. So when you're in college, getting ready to enroll in courses, it can be pretty stressful. Trying to get the classes that you want. You know, you preload the classes, you put them in your shopping cart, and then the way that it worked at Salisbury is, you know, very early in the morning, 6:30, it all opens up, and then everybody is free to hit the submit button on what was in your cart. Oftentimes you wouldn't get exactly what you had preloaded, but if you are in the honors college, you're not worrying about enrolling with all several thousand students at the same time. You're actually registering for courses ahead of time, a day or two before all other students. So you can pretty much get that class that you want with the professor that you want at the times that you want. So it is really nice. And then there is honors housing as well. One of the freshman residence halls on campus is strictly for honors students. So I think being an honors student definitely opens doors, and it certainly looks great on a resume. So it's something to keep in mind. After you apply and you're admitted to Salisbury, you have the option to then apply to our honors college. And we have a very passionate honors dean and Dr. Martino. He is all about getting more students in honors. All right, campus resources is extremely important. You know, you want to be a successful student. So when you're looking at colleges, you should be asking colleges what kind of resources they offer you as a student. Here at Salisbury, all of these resources listed here come at no additional cost whatsoever. So they're there to help ensure your success during the semester. And I'll talk about a few here. I mean, we have the writing center there listed at the bottom, right inside our library that's pictured here. That's our library that I mentioned earlier. The writing center is there. You can schedule one-on-one appointments with any of our writing consultants. Career services helps you find internships, build your resume, create a LinkedIn profile. They do mock interviews. So they really help prepare you for, you know, the real world per se after you graduate, just making sure you're ready there and prepared. And then Center for Student Achievement encompasses all of our tutoring services, academic coaching, supplemental instruction, which is where we have an upperclassman student leading their own tutoring session up to 3 hours per week. And when you're in an SI, supplemental instructors tutoring session, this student took the same class that you're in. So say you're taking organic chemistry and then you go to the SI session, the student leading that SI session just took organic chemistry a semester before, they aced it, and then they were recommended by a professor to then lead their own tutoring sessions, and they get paid. So really nice resource. I took advantage of that for my calculus class back when I was a student, and it helped me get a solid grade in the class. So just keep in mind as you're working through your academics through the semester, know that you're not alone. You know, you have your academic advisor to help you with course scheduling. And then we have a number of resources here for just about anything, you know, to help get you through each semester on campus. All right, and then you're gonna have plenty of time to get involved as a student. At Salisbury, there's over 120 different clubs and organizations for just about anything you can think of. If you sing, you can audition for Squawkapella. If you dance, there's dance company, Palms. There's certainly clubs for art or music, theater. If you've always wanted to be a wizard, there's a Quidditch club. You guys ever see Harry Potter? There's opportunities to create your own club as well. You just need 10 students willing to be on board with you, and you can get that club going. So I met some of my closest friends, including my wife, during my time at SU through the various clubs that I was involved in. And it's a great way to make new friends. And we do have sports at SU or Division III in the NCAA, 21 varsity teams, as you can see pictured here, and some relatively new sports stadiums. We have over 180 conference championships, over 30 team national championships from SU across our 21 teams, and some fairly new stadiums found on our East campus as well. So we're very competitive. You get free access to every single athletic event that happens on campus as a student. All right, and there's club level sports as well as intramural sports. So there's plenty of opportunities to get involved, whether you're looking for the most competitive, you know, varsity is the most time commitment, and then intramurals is just amongst you and some friends and against other Salisbury students. All right, housing is certainly very important during your college search process. You know, what kind of residence hall you're going to be living in? Is it going to be communal style bathrooms? Is it going to be a suite style living, or you're going to have singles, doubles, triples? Every college has different arrangements for their housing. At SU, we do have a 2-year residency requirement. That means if you're coming in as a freshman, you live on campus. However, you know, if you're local, as most of you will be, you have the option to file an exemption form from that housing requirement. But if you do end up living on campus, just know that we have great residence halls and opportunities there. Singles, doubles, triples. Most freshmen are placed in a double. You can request a roommate. All of the freshman halls have been updated and renovated out. So they're all really nice. You know, come to campus, come check them out. And then parking on campus available to all students. So if you're going to be commuting, you know, you're going to need a parking pass. But regardless, if you're living on campus, you have that option to bring your car as well. All right, food is obviously important. And we boast in the area of dining at SU. We have an all-you-can-eat dining hall. We also have 11 dining locations across campus, satellite locations where you can spend your dining dollars as you please. You'll have a few hundred per semester. We have a Chick-fil-A in our student union, Cool Beans Starbucks Cafe in the student union. The library has Hungry Minds Express and a coffee shop. Purdue has a pizzeria, and the list goes on. And then not to mention the number of places within walking distance for students as well. All right. Okay, Fafsa and financial aid information. So, you know, obviously we want to give you the most value for your education here at Salisbury. When you're looking at various colleges and comparing prices, you know, a lot of you will get scholarship opportunities, and we get this question a lot where students will say, hey, so-and-so school is giving us $10,000 in scholarship. Salisbury is only giving us half of that. You know, are we able to match that? What's going on? A lot of the times schools will give higher scholarship amounts, and then you'll look back and find that their sticker price is a lot more than what Salisbury is. So it's important to look at the net price, the net cost. So after you get all your scholarship opportunities and your financial aid, then subtracting that from that starting overall cost of whatever institution you're looking at. At SU, we have three main avenues of scholarship opportunities. You have your need-based aid, which is through filing your Fafsa, your free application for federal student aid. October 1st is the date to remember. Keep that in mind. That's when the FAFSA will reopen for the following year. The priority deadline, especially for Maryland students, is March 1st. So if you want to be considered for Maryland state aid, I know MHEC is popular in giving out need-based aid. You want to have your FAFSA done by March 1st. All right, so October 1st is when it opens, March 1st priority deadline. We also have merit-based scholarships, this is automatic. It's going to be based off of your academic performance, so your GPA, your weighted cumulative GPA, and or test scores if you decide to submit them. Our maximum scholarship for merit only is up $5,000 per year. We actually have a net price calculator tool on our financial aid website where you can plug in your weighted cumulative GPA and your test scores and state of residence. It'll tell you what you're estimated to receive in scholarship money. If you're coming from Del Mar and you're on the Delaware side and you're paying the out-of-state tuition, just know that you do qualify for the Good Neighbor Scholarship, which is an automatic $6,000 per year. So that certainly helps towards that out-of-state cost. And then finally, we have Academic Works, which is our scholarship website at SU. So after you're admitted, you'll then have access to Academic Works in December. And they have a number of scholarships there, hundreds of them that range from awards of $300 or hundreds of dollars up to tens of thousands. So I've seen students get full rides to SU through all of these stackable scholarships that they have been awarded. And then there's also work study opportunities. If you qualify, you'll be awarded that on your financial aid package, and then you'll be able to accept your offer and then look for a placement on campus. And then outside of that, we also have several job opportunities all around campus in the various departments. All right, let's jump into the application process here. So first things first, we have 3 different application types that you can choose from: early decision, early action, and regular. Each have their own deadline, and notification is when we would get back to you with a decision at the latest. So at SU, we do kind of get our decisions out on a rolling basis. So if you come in and your application is complete, we have everything we need. We're going to go ahead and review it and try to get a decision out as soon as we can. We don't necessarily wait for the date that's posted there on the notification date there. So some colleges have 1 deadline or 2 application types. Another thing to keep in mind is that some colleges require you to apply a certain application type in order to be considered for scholarships. At Salisbury, it's not that way at all. If you're considered for merit-based, I mean, you can apply early decision, early action, or regular. It does not matter. You will still get the same consideration for scholarships either way. The one thing that I want to mention that's important in the application process is that you'll find that colleges offer an early decision binding agreement application type. So that's the case for our early decision type. It comes with that binding agreement. So when you hear that term binding, that means if you apply that way and you're accepted to SU or accepted to that institution, you're then required to attend said institution, in this case, Salisbury. So the benefit to applying early decision in our case is that, yes, you do get that early notification no later than December 15th, but also you get the very best benefit on your application. You get the best consideration. So if you know that Salisbury is your #1 school, it's your dream school, you don't want to go anywhere else, just know that you get the best consideration on your application. You're most competitive if you go early decision. I was able to work with and admit students that way that would not have been accepted had they chose to apply early action or regular. So something to keep in mind, early decision definitely helps you with your acceptance opportunities. But if you know you're going to be doing the college search, window shopping, so to speak, early action is my default recommendation, in that both early action and regular are non-binding. So if you apply that way and we accept you, then it's the ball is in your court whether or not you want to accept the offer. Early action, I would recommend over regular, just because you get that decision back sooner, and it gives you extra time if we need to see your senior grades, if we know that if you're going to be retaking the SAT or the ACT, and you like to send us scores to help reconsider your application decision, it gives you more time when you apply earlier. And it only gets more competitive, the longer you wait. So try not to wait for the regular decision deadline if you can avoid it. Now, applying to Salisbury, you only apply online. You can visit our website, salisbury.edu/apply. And if, when you're applying as a freshman, you have two methods, the Common App or the Salisbury University application. You may be familiar with the Common App. If you're not, you're going to start hearing that, especially those of you who are going to be rising seniors. The Common App is really nice in that you get to just fill out the application one time. And especially if you're applying to multiple colleges, you just add that college to your list of schools, and then you just plug and play your application. So you don't have to worry about filling out all the same information, 10 to 15 times for multiple colleges. If they are a member of the Common App, it's as simple as just adding them with a click of a button, and then sending your application their way. We have our own Salisbury University application. Let's get the question like, what's the difference? There really isn't a difference or an advantage to applying one way or the other. Both ways are completely fine. I will say though, if you're just applying to Salisbury, I recommend the SU app only because it's a little bit shorter in terms of the number of questions it asks you. When you're doing the Common App, because they have several hundred members, college institutions, they have more questions on there that they're asking you, more demographic questions. So Salisbury University application shouldn't take you as long to complete as it would the Common App. All right, we have something unique to SU. We have an admissions portal. So after you actually begin the application process and submit your app, you'll get an email saying, hey, we got your application, log into your admissions portal via this link, and you click on the link, you create a login, and this really becomes your one-stop shop throughout the entire process. I can't say for a fact that every college has something like this, but when we rolled this out a couple of years ago, it has become really essential to the student, and it's user-friendly. So once you log in, it tells you straight up if we're missing anything on your application. So for instance, this student, we are still awaiting their transcript from high school. So this student wouldn't get reviewed until they're considered complete in the system. And so if you ever have any questions regarding if you're missing anything on your application, you can just log into your admission status portal, and it will tell you if we're missing test scores, if you didn't apply test optional, or your transcript, or letter of recommendation. And then we also send out the electronic letters via this admissions portal. So we do send out letters via the mail, but when we send out one in the mail and one just through your email, obviously you're going to get notified first on the email of your acceptance. And then you can see that electronic letter, and then you'll see an acceptance package come to your mailbox as well a few days later. When we're looking at you in the review process, there are a number of elements that we're looking at. The high school transcript by far is the most important. We're looking at your weighted cumulative GPA. This is your performance over the past few years. We're looking at your coursework. We're checking to see whether or not you've taken any honors or AP classes, IB, dual enrollment. Again, we'll take your senior year grades if necessary, but when you're applying in the fall, you only have up through your junior year completed. If we can't make a decision based off that, we're willing to hold off on a final decision by waiting on your first quarter or second quarter or even third quarter grades too. So we are a test optional institution. We always have been, but before we had a GPA requirement of a 3.5. Ever since COVID hit and students have had a difficulty taking the SAT and ACT, our policy there has changed where you do not need a 3.5. It doesn't matter what your GPA is, you can apply as test optional and you don't have to worry about sending your scores in. All right, and you can always use that net price calculator. Like I said, if you're curious what your test scores might do to your merit-based scholarship, you can plug and play there on that price calculator. Evidence of future success. So on your application itself, we're going to be looking at your involvement. What kind of things did you do in school as a student? Have you held any leadership positions? Are you an honor student? What kind of clubs have you been in? What kind of sports do you play? Are you a captain of a sport? All that stuff is great to put on the activities page. So start thinking about what kind of things you've done over the, during high school, in school, or in the community, volunteer efforts. You can put all that down. Your personal essay. We just have the one personal essay. We don't have any supplemental essays. Some colleges have not only an essay, but also they might have like supplemental questions that you also have to answer. We just have the essay that you write about, make a personal statement, and then letters of recommendation. We are looking for at least one. 1 to 3 is good. That can come from a teacher, counselor, coach, manager, pastor, anything of that sort. Anyone that can speak highly of your character, works fine. All right. And then I did want to mention that if you decide to go a different route, maybe you go to a different institution after you graduate from high school, keep in mind you can always transfer to SU. It's very simple. We have those 2 priority deadlines. If you want to live on campus, we're really taking applications throughout the year. Our minimum criteria is 12 transferable credits and a 2.0 transfer GPA. Traditionally, you need 30 credits to transfer in a 2.0, but we can take you with at least 12 if you're also admissible based on freshman standards. So if you have less than a year of transfer credit, you don't have the 30, but you have at least 12 and you have at least a 2.0, you can go ahead and apply for admission. We would just also need your high school transcript. And as long as your GPA falls within an acceptable range, looking around about a 3.0 final high school transcript, then you're good for admission. Okay. All right. I know that I covered a lot of topics there, but I wanted to go ahead and open up to any questions that you guys might have about anything about the application process, student life, anything like that.
JJ, is your admissions process, would you say it's pretty standard and similar to most other colleges?
I think so, for the most part. Now, some colleges you'll find might be more selective. They might have like a second reader. So for instance, they might have a process where they have an admissions counselor read your application and put a decision in, but it's not final unless that second reader reviews it. I've heard this process more in like the private colleges because they're more selective. They're smaller institutions. Some colleges might have an interview process where they require an interview. We don't have that. But for the most part, it starts off with your weighted, your high school GPA, your coursework, the grades there, performance, obviously, followed up by the supplemental pieces like your essay, your letters recommendation, your activities. That's why it comes back to getting to know who your admissions counselor might be at a various college.
Can you share any information about your on-site admissions that you offer in the fall?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So on-site admissions events are something that we do at a number of schools. Now I have actually did 13 on-sites this past year at all Eastern Shore schools. And of course I hit all the Wicomico County schools, public and private. And so the on-site event is basically briefly, it's an opportunity for me to get face-to-face with you as an applicant. So I meet with students who have already applied. And I get to ask them some questions, get to learn about the student a little bit more, what kind of things they're involved in, why they might be looking at Salisbury. And then if they're admissible, I go ahead and just give an acceptance certificate right there on the spot. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes we bring Sammy the Seagull out. Some schools will even do fun things like an ice cream social with all the students who are admitted, that day. So that's another benefit to applying early. Then you might have the opportunity to sit in on that on-site interview. And so again, it's just another opportunity to make this whole process a little more personal. Most of the time when I'm reviewing an application, I don't get to meet the student. I'm just looking at like words on a paper. So there's nothing that beats getting to actually talk face-to-face with a student. So keep an eye out for that. And I coordinate with the guidance counselors at each of the Wicomico County schools. Another fun thing that we did do this past year for the first time is the shore scholarship events. So any student that was admitted to Salisbury, we visited all the four Wicomico County schools, and we gave out a $1,000 shore scholarship. It was raffled out, and any student that was admitted to SU was invited to join us at that event. And not only did we raffle out that scholarship, we had a big check for it, but students came, they got free t-shirts, lanyards, and we also had Chick-fil-A nuggets, which obviously is a big deal, with sweet tea, lemonade, and, you know, Sammy the Seagull came out, and we rolled in with the big Sammy the Seagull bus as well, so it was a lot of fun. So we're hoping to make that a yearly thing, a tradition where we come out and raffle off a $1,000 scholarship. So.
JJ, if when you're having conversations with students, with high school seniors about the college application process, what do you feel like they get hung up on the most, or what gives them the most trouble as they're going through the process?
Yeah, well, let's see. Honestly, I think a lot of students, for whatever reason, stress out about the personal essay for good reason. But I always tell those students, you know, when you're looking at Salisbury, if you're coming out with strong grades, your essay, it's not going to matter too much. Don't get too bogged down on the essay. It is, you know, obviously a requirement to the application. We're going to be reading it, but don't get too caught up. And some students, you know, lose sleep over, you know, the personal essay that they write. And so if you're coming in with strong grades and strong coursework over the past few years, you're going to be in good shape. I think another thing is and the admissions portal has really helped with this, is that some students, they submit their application and then realize their application is not complete until, you know, if the notification deadline's coming around, and then all their friends are starting to hear back from Salisbury, but they haven't heard back. And then they realize, oh, I never had my transcript's not there for whatever reason. Or I never hit submit on the Common App. That's a common one too. So the admissions portal has helped with that, and helps streamline the process where students can know something is missing on their application, or whether or not they did submit the application.
And JJ, do you have any advice for parents as they're, you know, I know they're by senior year, students are pretty independent, you know, they're about to be either going away to college or entering the workforce, but, you know, this is also a process where students need a lot of support from people around them, whether it's their teachers, guidance counselors, or family members. So do you have any advice for the adults in our students' lives on how they can support their students?
Yeah, absolutely. I think asking a lot of questions is important. We know that you have questions. Don't be afraid to ask them. And you mentioned a good point, Ms. Scheller, about the resources around you. People like yourself, your high school guidance counselors, your admissions counselors, you know, admissions staff. We're your closest friends throughout this whole process. So we really are here to help simplify, break down the process, you know, break down the application process, and make things easier to understand. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a parent who comes in and they, you know, I'm talking to them on the phone or in person, and they say, you know, this is my first child, and, you know, their first generation, or, you know, we've never been through this process at all, and they don't even know where to start. And it's not that scary of a process once you really start asking all the questions. You know, you ask about application deadlines and, okay, what are you looking for in a student? And so we talked about those things. The financial aid process, you know, that can be its own beast, with making sure that you have enough resources to get a valuable education. And so I think it all starts with using the immediate resources around you, and then asking as many questions as you can, and then also going and visiting the colleges that you're interested in. Especially for those of you who are juniors right now, this upcoming summer, take the opportunity to visit as many colleges as you can that you're interested in. That way you get that all of that out of the way now, so that when you become a senior, you know, the beginning of your senior year is all about applying to colleges. So that can be a stressful process in itself. And so you don't want to have looming over you, oh, I still have to visit these colleges and I don't even know what they're looking for. You know, what do they do in their application process? You know, am I going to be admitted? So just try to visit the colleges beforehand so that you can maybe narrow down to colleges that you want to apply to. And then after you've been admitted to colleges, you can go back for a second round after that, knowing you've been admitted. And it really gives you a different perspective when you're walking around campus, knowing that you've been accepted to that institution.
Okay, great. Any other questions for JJ tonight? I know that he is always available for our students and parents if they have any other further questions. Okay, thanks so much, JJ.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. And thank you all so much for having me. I look forward to working with you all throughout this process.
Yep, thank you. Okay, next up is Mr. Corey Lowe, guidance counselor from Wicomico High School. He's wearing multiple hats tonight. He's Mr. Corey Lowe, and he's also Mrs. Rebecca Matthews. So we hope Rebecca's feeling better, and Corey's going to share a lot of information that I know that Mrs. Matthews would have covered in her presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Scheller, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. At any time, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. If I'm talking about something and my screen hasn't popped up, feel free to wave at me so I can make any changes. But we're going to go ahead and just cover some basic information about College Information Night. Again, I'm Corey Lowe. I want to just show my email is here at the bottom, klowe@wcboe.org. So if you have any questions and you feel you go home after the presentation, you're like, oh, I should have asked that, feel free to please send me an email with any questions. So the college planning guide, Ms. Scheller had sent me this a couple weeks ago. It is a wonderful resource. That's what we're going to cover today. I've made slides for each step on there. If you do, once this presentation is shared, it's interactive. So if you go, anytime it says here with a capital and has an underline, if you actually click on the resource, it's going to show that resource right there for you. So this is the college planning guide that was posted. You can also, it's on the board website, but it breaks it down by grade level, grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. But again, my presentation is going to walk through the different points that are made. The 9th grade steps. So first and foremost, be familiar with the levels of courses that are offered. We have regular classes, we have honors classes, and we have AP classes. And then also be aware of what courses are required for graduation in colleges. The best resource that I posted here is our course catalog. If you actually click on here and go to page 1, it's going to show you the graduation requirements for Wicomico County. I know they also changed this year with our incoming 9th graders and our current classes. But again, you can find that on page 1. And then on page 10, you can actually find the requirements for the state of Maryland colleges for application. So if you scroll down to page 10, it gives you a list of classes that you have to take to apply for admission requirements for the Maryland State Universities and colleges. And again, it lists those below. But again, page 1 and page 10 will be very, very helpful for you all. The big step is think about your interests and start looking into different careers you might be related to your interests. And I know I get this question a lot. Well, Mr. Lowe, I have no idea, where do I even begin? Naviance will be your best friend from 9th grade all the way until 12th grade. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to pull up Naviance and kind of show what it does look like on the student side. Oops. And so as a student, our students log into our Google Classrooms, and then when they actually click on that Google Chrome link, Clever always pops up right next to the Google Classroom. So if a student's like, I don't even know where to begin to go to Naviance, it's all through Clever. So if that student sees Clever, they actually just click on log in as student, and it's going to load them into their apps. Their app's going to look a little different than mine because I'm on the staff side, but it's going to be under the same section, college readiness. And I try to tell my students the easiest thing to do is hover over it and click that heart button. It's going to add it to their favorites. So any free time they go into Clever, Naviance will stay right at the top for them. So they just click on and access, and it automatically loads them in. So once that student's in Naviance, it's going to look exactly like this. It's going to say welcome and have their name in. For, trying to figure out, your interests, your strengths, the number one tab in here is self-discovery. So our 9th graders and our 10th graders, I would definitely encourage, if you haven't explored yet, definitely get into the self-discovery tab. Click on self-discovery home, and it's going to have a lot of different assessments that you can take. And I know assessments always, that word scares our students, but they're very, very student friendly. A lot of these assessments, once you complete them, actually saves the information and it doesn't go away. So you could take, the Achieve Works freshman year, get your score, and then actually want to take it later on your 11th grade year to see if there's been any changes. The one assessment I do have to note that you can only take once is the Strengths Explorer. And a lot of students take it right around 8th and 9th grade. So if you're on this call or you're watching this video and you're like, oh, I haven't taken that Strengths Explorer, tomorrow during Flex, log on to Naviance and take that Strengths Explorer assessment, because it really, really helps, kind of narrow down, what you would be interested in doing career-wise and what you're strong at. So again, all the other assessments you can take multiple times. That Strengths Explorer you can take once. And again, that was through your Naviance. You go to the top, click Self-Discovery and Self-Discovery Home. And again, they're going to be listed right there. Again, I know with Flex, having that free time, having that, you're going to your teachers, getting that extra help. But if you do, have some downtime in there, using this self-discovery tab is really, really, it's a helpful thing moving forward. And then again, it's just directly through Naviance, log on to Clever, and it'll take you directly to the Naviance screen. Another big thing in 9th grade is starting to get involved with those through after school activities and athletics. Again, what Mr. Remo was talking about, you want to fill up the activities list for whatever college you apply to. So I know there's multiple after school clubs through the after school programs. And I know we all offer different athletics. So being involved, being a leader, especially looks good. And starting in 9th grade, you kind of figure out what you're interested in, and you can pursue and doing things, 4 years from 9th to 12th grade looks like, looks very, very good on a resume, on a college application, because it shows that you're determined and that you're loyal to that program or club, athletic team that you've been participating with. Another big one is continuing to volunteer or starting to volunteer if you haven't in middle school, and logging your hours through X2 Vol. This is so important because now all service learning hours are entered in virtually, through Naviance, through X2 Vol. So please make sure you continue to volunteer and log those hours in. A lot of students come to my office and they're like, oh, well, Mr. Lowe, I don't know how to log those hours in, because it can be a little tough the first time they're doing it. So I've actually just included some instructions here where you click on it and it walks you through exactly what you're going to see. Screenshots from the time you log into Naviance, and I'll show you on the demo side to when you get into X2 Vol, and the screenshots you're going to see when you include your hours in. Again, these are exact screenshots that you'll see. They're pretty easy to follow, but if your student has any issues, contact your counselor and they can walk you through the process. Again, that was just clicking through here. X2 Vol can be found in Naviance on the main screen. So I'm just going to show my demo real quick. Again, we're on our main screen here. you'll scroll down to the bottom and you'll click on that X2 Vol button right there, and it'll take you directly to X2 Vol, and you'll follow those other screenshots to get it logged, get your hours logged in. Again, very, very important step, because if you volunteer and you don't log the hours, we don't know, and we can't put those in your X2 and keep track. Another step in 9th grade is preparing for the PSAT, because you will take it in 10th grade. All 10th graders in Wicomico County take that. On the College Board website, they have a wonderful, wonderful site that will walk you through different studying and practicing for the PSAT. If you go ahead and click on the tab, it'll bring it up. And again, it has instructions, walkthroughs here. If you keep going down, it has full length practice tests that you can take. So again, maybe over the summertime, or, maybe earlier in your 10th grade year, you work on that, on those practice tests. But again, it helps, start in 9th grade, look at what questions are going to be on the PSAT. Also, during the summer, this is time, volunteer, maybe get a job, or, attend an academic or professional education program. It's important, you start building that resume over the summer into your 10th grade year. Volunteering over the summer, allows you to kind of dedicate your time to the volunteer, get a lot of hours, because that'll help you later on with, applying to scholarships and for your college application. The academic and professional education programs, truly it's up to what you're interested in. I know we were going to have Salisbury University on here, so I was going to, do a little shout out. They have wonderful summer enrichment activities. So if you actually click on here, it will bring up the activities, and the enrichment academics here. They have quite a few that you can go down and learn more about. The registration's going on. So if you're thinking, well, I don't know what I'm going to do over summer, feel free to click on that link and explore, because it's wonderful.
Mr. Lowe,
And
also
so-
with the summer, I'm sorry to interrupt,
Okay.
but with the summer enrichment academies for SU, if you qualify for free and reduced meals, then you have a reduced fee that you pay. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Yes, and again, they have quite a few. Definitely, there is something that your student's going to be interested in, that they do offer. And so now we move on to 10th grade. So there's a common theme in each grade, continuing to meet with your counselor, making sure you're meeting those requirements for graduation, and especially those requirements for colleges. Again, keep participating in those after-school activities and volunteering. Again, maybe you were a participant in the SGA your 9th grade year, and then you want to move on and find a leadership position. Just keep evolving, keep trying to find things that you are interested in, and make sure you please keep logging your hours. It is very, very important. I know you're going to log them and get to 75 and go, well, I'm done. I'm not going to log anymore. But the more service learning hours you have, the better it looks for your college applications, and especially for scholarships when we move on to your 12th grade year. So 10th grade, you're going to take the PSAT. I know I shared a previous link to the practice. The link here actually gives you a general overview of what's going to be on the PSAT. So if you're curious, click on that link and it'll show you a full breakdown of the PSAT. Also, the PSAT is a qualifying test for the National Merit Scholarship Program. This is a program that's an academic competition for recognition and scholarships. If you click on that link, it'll give you more information, kind of a score breakdown as well for that PSAT. Again, every student in Wicomico County, 10th grader takes a PSAT. So, practicing for that, scoring well on that could possibly qualify you for the National Merit Scholarship Program. And then for 10th grade, and this might be a little early, but again, starting using Naviance to start researching colleges. I'm going to show, first I'm going to show the Supermatch instructions, but I'll give a quick little walkthrough of what it looks like. The good thing with Naviance, again, once a student starts, using Naviance, all the information, everything that they do in there is going to be saved. So, they could start using their college search in 10th grade, and those colleges aren't going to be removed from their interest list. So they could keep that list. They could continue growing that list. We talk about going on tours. They might be like, well, I really didn't like that tour, and take it off. But that list does not go away. It continues to grow. It continues to evolve with what they're feeling. And I think that's wonderful that it doesn't reset every school year, and that you could start your 9th or 10th grade year and it'd be there your 12th grade year. So on this, if you go ahead and click here, it brings out a breakdown of the reference guide for Supermatch. It walks you step by step on how to, find a school, add a school. But I'll go ahead and do a quick little tour. We actually covered this in the college bootcamp as well. But again, this will walk you through exactly what you're looking at when you go on that Supermatch on the student side. So at the top here, when you're trying to do the college search, you'll go to the colleges top tab here, and then you'll come down, and Supermatch is right underneath the Find Your Fit. Again, it's a wonderful tool. So once you click on that college Supermatch, it's going to load here. I'm going to delete my criteria. And at the top, again, that resource guide will walk you through. But at the top, you can go ahead and choose your criteria. So again, if we went on location and we were like, I want to stay in state, I want that in-state tuition. If you go ahead and type in Maryland and click on Maryland, it's going to load in our must-have. So our must-have is a requirement. My school must be in the state of Maryland, and it's going to load those schools in there. Again, we could go and you could select from the different criteria. Another popular criteria that students put in is academics. They want a certain degree, so we'll go ahead and put in a bachelor's degree, and we're going to go ahead and put in accounting for their major. And so once we load that, we have our two must-haves. We have the location, we have the major. Naviance is going to automatically load those two criteria and show you what colleges fit that criteria. They have the in-state tuition, they're in Maryland, and they also have the accounting major. It's going to show all the schools here, a nice little list. We have our Salisbury University there. The very interesting thing, and the one thing I love most about the Supermatch is, even though the school doesn't meet, it might not meet the being in state, they're actually going to show you schools that met one part of the criteria, but might be in a surrounding state, like Marshall Universities in West Virginia. They have the accounting, but they're not in the state of Maryland. And again, this might allow a student to kind of fall upon a school that they weren't thinking about at first, but are interested in. And again, the criteria can always change. If you're like, the location of being in Maryland is not a must-have, it's a nice-to-have. You just simply click over the arrow, and it's going to load the schools that might have the accounting major, but might not be in the state of Maryland. But again, it's very simple, moving them, from left to right, or right to left. Once a student, is like, oh, I really, I loved Morgan State. They did some they knew from the beginning. As long as you just click the favorite button, the little heart, it's going to save on their favorite list that I'll show later. But again, this tool is wonderful, especially just exploring. You might go on a visit, you might go on family vacation over 9th grade or 10th grade summer, and you're like, oh, you stopped by Morgan State, you really enjoyed it, and that's why you have it on your favorite list. Again, they do a quick little breakdown here. GPA, SAT scores, ACT, their average, tuition and fees. But again, you can go into more in depth by actually clicking on the college. And it will give you a wonderful kind of snapshot. It's a little bit easier to maneuver than a school's website, that has a lot of tabs and might be a little difficult. But again, if you're like, I want to go directly to the state or to the school's website, you can go ahead and click on it right there. I'm going to take you there. A lot of schools now are doing the virtual tours that I'll touch on a little bit later, but you can do it all here from Naviance. But again, we go ahead and add it to our colleges I'm thinking about. And I'll go back to our search real quick and kind of show you where it goes from there. We'll add a few more colleges in there. And we'll go ahead and add Hood College, and we'll add University of Maryland Eastern Shore. So once you go and you've kind of had your list, and you want to see, what schools that I put on, during 10th grade. If you actually click on colleges, you'll see that big heart. You'll click on colleges I'm thinking about. It's going to have the list. I have some colleges that I added from some different presentations. And again, this list will save year after year until go into your 12th grade year. This list will still be on there. And then start touring, if possible. Ms. Remo talked about, the importance of touring colleges. So maybe, over the 10th grade summer, again, family trips, if you're going by a college that you might be interested, stopping by, scheduling, because they do it all over the summer. Especially with COVID, there was an increase of these virtual tours. I provided an example. Again, they're not going to be the same as, going into the school or going to the school and walking around. But it might be, a little bit of a fix if, traveling is going to be an issue for you. I'll just show you a quick one. This is Salisbury University's virtual tour. Again, you can kind of click around. This one shows you different pictures of dorm rooms, different buildings. Again, this one, all I did was type in Salisbury University virtual tour, and it popped up for me. So you could do that for, if you were thinking about going to a school in California and, traveling might be a little difficult, doing that virtual tour in 10th grade will, kind of make you think if you're going to keep them on your list or not. Continuing in 10th grade to volunteer, if you get a part-time job and work, or again, attend one of those education programs, because now you're thinking about building your resume, having those different activities that you've been doing. So when you go into, applying to college later on, or building, or your letters of recommendation so your teacher can write for you, having that strong resume definitely helps. And now you've taken the PSAT, and next year you're starting to prepare for the SAT. I'll go ahead and click on this link. I talk about the SAT a little bit more because we do offer that to every single 11th grader in Wicomico County. So that information will definitely be a big help. It's just general information about the SAT. And then we have also the ACT. We have some general information about their test as well. Again, all 11th graders take that SAT their 11th grade year. So the summer's ended and we're going into that 11th grade year. Again, you're going to continue meeting with your high school counselor. You're going to talk about graduation and college requirements. And now, the conversation is going to take a little bit of a turn. You're going to be talking about your post-high school plans. And we know plans are going to change, but, having, kind of thinking about, this is what I'm thinking about majoring in, this is the career I want to, pursue. It helps, start early, as early as possible, thinking about that. And again, things are going to change, but, your counselor being aware definitely helps when you're scheduling classes, and especially, trying to find activities, maybe volunteer opportunities, internships for the student. And then continue to be involved in those extracurricular activities, community activities, because now these activities might be part of that college essay. So, doing things that are going to, set you apart are definitely going to help you with the college application process. And then also, with scholarships as well. So start continuing adding those colleges to your, I'm thinking about list on Naviance, and making sure that you're meeting their admission requirements. A big thing is, and I want to show you as well on that Naviance side, Naviance has a really nice tool that kind of helps, with the grade level, keeping notes, maybe keeping a journal, and it might be hard to, handwrite those. It gets lost over the years. The nice thing about Naviance is they actually also have a goal or have a journal section that a lot of students, they kind of, overlook this. But with this journal, again, it saves all 4 years. you can actually go in here, you add a little note. You can put a subject like you visited over the summer and you loved Salisbury University. You type in Salisbury University visit, and then you talk about what you enjoyed. So you can list those different activities, and then you can actually share it with your counselors, your teachers, and then your parents as well. And again, this will save all 4 years. A big thing I think this helps with our volunteer. I know you're logging those hours, but keeping it in your journal, and then any activities you do, keeping those in this journal will help you go on. And I think a couple slides I talk about building a resume. Having these journal inputs really help. Once you get to your senior year, because a lot of times we're building that resume for a senior, and they're like, man, I can't remember when I was the president of SGA. I can't remember when I did outdoor track, and we're tracking back and we're trying to keep track of it. But you have it in your journal. You deploy your journal up, and it's right there for you. So again, you're on your Naviance home screen. You come over to your About Me, and you click on Journal, and your journal is right there. And again, you can go ahead and add as many as you want. It doesn't go away. It saves. It's a wonderful tool that Naviance has. So in the fall, you're going to continue studying for that SAT because you're going to be taking the SAT in school in March. That's our test day, our test month for the SAT. Also, I'm going to go over, you can also register for the SAT if you wanted to, register after you take it in March. But again, all 11th graders have the opportunity to take that SAT in March, which again, I think is a wonderful thing, because our students, are probably going to be more comfortable taking the SAT, in the building that they've, take their classes in, instead of, maybe going to another school on a Saturday to take that test. Again, they get to take it in the building during the school day, one time in March. So in the winter, you're going to continue studying. You can actually register, and this is the link here directly to the SAT. If you click on the link, it'll take you to the SAT. You click on register now, and it's going to bring up some different dates that you can register for. It'll have you put your sign in, of course, but once you sign in, it'll give the dates that you can apply. One thing to note, if you are on free and reduced lunch, please contact your counselor or your testing administrator at school, because you would qualify for taking the SAT for free. And there's codes available that you can take, so you don't have to pay for it. So if you do qualify for free and reduced lunch, please do not pay for the SAT. You do qualify for free. I also included the registration for the ACT too. Sorry. You'll go ahead and click on that link, and it'll take you to the website, and there'll be a register now button that you can click on. Here is definitely a very, very important part. And I know Mr. Remo had talked about financial aid. It's never too early to start researching financial aid. Again, you won't be able to fill out the FAFSA until your senior year. But again, if you go ahead and click on this link here, it takes you directly to the student aid website, and it goes over the different types of financial aid, from grants to scholarships to work studies to loans. So it's definitely a very important tool. It's just a resource for you to view if you do want to look at those different types of financial aid available. Again, you can't complete the FAFSA until your senior year. I wanted to a big shout out. So the college fair, and Ms. Scheller, if this is incorrect, this came off the form, is scheduled as of now for Tuesday, March 14th, 2023 at James M. Bennett from 5:30 to 7:30. This seems like it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful event. So, mark it in your calendars. I'm sure there'll be a ton of advertising through the Sunday phone calls, social media, for this event. But again, the college fair next school year will be definitely something that all 11th graders, 12th graders that could take advantage of. And so now we're in the spring of your 11th grade year. You're going to continue adding those schools to your Naviance list. And now, the visits are going to get really, really serious. You're going to have your list. You're going to be going into your senior year, visiting those schools that you might be interested in going to, because again, like what Mr. Remo was saying, you're going to, your senior year in the beginning, you're going to be focused on the application process. So, getting those visits out of the way, in the spring, in the summer, could definitely, be a big benefit for you. Again, if travel is an issue, going on those virtual tours, contacting admissions counselors is definitely a good resource to get some more information. But you're going to continue, you're going to kind of get not finalizing your Naviance list, but having the schools that you are thinking about applying to when that time comes over the summer and into the fall of your senior year. Now we're going to go ahead and you're going to update your resume if you already have one, because you're going to be requesting letters of recommendation. And then this will be, over the summer and then in the beginning of the school year. The important thing about your resume, if you have one already, great, and you're updating it. If you do not have one, Naviance, again, comes in and does a wonderful job. They actually have a resume builder right in the on the website. If again, we're going to go to the main page. When you log in from Clever, you're going to go down to About Me, and then you're going to go to Resume. And it's going to allow you to create a resume. It allows you to add different sections. You come down here, you want to add your, they have quite a few. They cover it all. You would come here and we want to, click on work experience. You want to talk about, the position you held as a cashier at Burger King. You come down, put the location, the start date. We'll go ahead and we'll say it was August. We'll kind of look ahead in the future and we'll go 2024. And let's say you're still working. And then here, it doesn't require anytime you see a red mark here, it requires the information. But here, if it's easier to say how many hours you put per week and say you work 20 hours per week, and then what grades you participated in, you can, again, saying it's to present, it's going to give, on the resume, it's going to say that you're continuing to work there. So we could select that you started in 10th, 11th, and you're still working in 12th, and you go ahead and click add, and it's going to add that section there for you. And again, you can add up to, education, your volunteer services, your extracurricular activities. You're going to your journal in Naviance and you're copying and pasting right into your resume. And again, it won't go away, so you can start on this resume in 9th grade and none of the sections are going to go away when you come to your 12th grade year. You can go ahead and you can always edit. You can remove it if you don't want it on your resume. And again, it will load for you a perfectly formatted resume that you can save as a PDF or a Word document that you can give to your teachers, because your teachers, you're going to request your letters of recommendation, and they've had you in class, but they might not know all the wonderful things you've done outside of school. That resume builder will go ahead and give them all the information that they need. And now the fun begins. So the 11th grade summer, going into your a rising senior. Now you can start filling out those applications either through the Common App, Coalition, or the school's website. I know Ms. Remo went over SU accepts Common App and directly to the school's website. Again, Common App allows you to apply to multiple schools, keeps it in one place, but not all schools accept the Common App. So it does depend, the school by a school basis, on a school basis. Now, it's your summer, you're going into your senior year. You might be like, oh, I'm just going to focus on the applications. Great, dedicate a good amount of time, but also continue to volunteer, continue to work, attend, another program, because your resume, doesn't end. You want to keep building that going into your senior year. And now, you've taken the SAT, you might have taken it, you took it once in March, you might have taken it again, towards the end of the school year. October is usually when you want to sign up for that SAT, because a lot of, November, first November 15th deadlines, you want to have those scores in place for when you're applying to college. So just keep that in mind, making sure you have your SAT score. You might not have to do it, your senior year. You're satisfied with your score your 11th grade year, which is wonderful. But making sure you're signing up for the SAT early in your 12th grade year, so you have the scores for your college applications would be great. Now you're going to finalize your college list. And I say finalize loosely because you might, in the beginning of your 12th grade year, be like, I really wanted to add the school. That's perfectly okay. You add it into your Naviance and you apply. But again, you're kind of getting to the end of it, having your list built. You're going to go ahead and update your resume. So you can start requesting those letters of recommendation from teachers. You're going to do this all in Naviance. I can go ahead and show you how you request letters of recommendation. But again, if going into your senior year, you're a rising senior, you're going to know this information. Your counselor is going to send out or talk with you the instructions on how to request letters of recommendation, or you go to a college boot camp and they'll walk you through it as well. And now you're going to work on your financial plan for college. You've started, you're going to fill out the FAFSA in October once it opens up, but you're going to, kind of start thinking about, how you're going to afford college. And now you're going to invest in your college essays and have someone review them. Again, this doesn't all happen in September, depending on the deadline is when you're going to, be working on those essays, working on your college applications. But just, you're right in the beginning of your year, you're going to be starting to think about this information and moving forward. So October, again, you're taking that SAT, ACT. I also wanted to talk about the Asvab and touch on that. Every school, every high school offers the Asvab. At Wicomico High School, we offered it twice this school year. Again, that it's not just for the military, but if you are, interested in joining one of the branches, you want to take that Asvab, you can take it at school. If you want to get a better idea of, what you would be interested in as a career, the Asvab is another tool that helps, find what you're strong at and some careers that you might be interested in. The FAFSA is going to go ahead and start on October 1st. If you want, I know it's early on, but you can go ahead and click on this link. It'll take you directly to the FAFSA application, and you would complete that starting October 1st. The big thing, know your application deadlines, know when you need to have your application in, because I know Mr. Remo was talking about, you go ahead and you fill out the Common App and you didn't click submit, and now you're over that deadline. So it's really, really, really important that you know your application deadlines. You've crossed your T's and dot your I's, that you know that everything's set. So make sure you know those application deadlines and that everything is set moving forward. In the mid-year, you're going to use Naviance to go ahead and request your school documents to be sent to each college. And I'll after I kind of finish this, I'll walk through Naviance briefly. Again, we go over this again, but you can go ahead and get on Naviance. You submit all your documents through there. It's going to be your best friend from 9th until 12th grade. Make sure you get your applications in on time. Finish the FAFSA. Again, you can start October 1st. And get that complete. And then scholarships are going to start. So your schools are going to start sending out, scholarship information. I know it does depend on the high schools. I know at Wicomico High School, we had our Google Classroom. We had a whole section just dedicated to scholarships. You can actually view scholarships on Naviance. You can view it on Community Foundations and another local scholarship. And then also there's other platforms with, countrywide scholarships that you can apply for. But again, you're going to start that scholarship process. That's very, very important. In February and March, I love this. That was on the resource that Ms. Scheller sent out. Send thank you notes to faculty members who wrote letters of recommendation. Again, it's wonderful that our teachers are willing to do that for our students. It's something that they're doing that is extra. I know, they most of the time love to do it, but sending thank you notes, showing them that you really do care and are thankful that they did that for you is a wonderful thing to do. Kind of after the college application process is kind of, starting to get to a close. Again, I don't know why I feel like I said applying to scholarships on like the next 4 slides, but I think it's just because we just had our senior awards last night. There's no better feeling of, walking across that stage and receiving a scholarship, and just, again, the essay might be a little tough. You're like, oh, I've just got done applying to colleges. I don't think I can fill out another application, but it is free money. You've done all the hard work to get the GPA requirement. You've done all the hard work with volunteering, apply to these scholarships, get the essays done, because again, it's free money that you've worked hard for, to qualify for. March 1st is our last date to submit the FAFSA. I know Mr. Remo talked about it, so make sure your FAFSA is in by March 1st. And again, you can use that previous slide, click on the link, and it takes you directly to the FAFSA application. So we're getting towards the end, April and May of your 12th grade year. You're going to go ahead and you're going to review your financial aid package that came from the schools. You're going to visit the colleges that you applied to and that you are, serious about going to. So you can go ahead and compare and contrast, right? You want to, at this point, you want to know that this is exactly what I want. And going and being on campus, visiting and talking with one of the admissions counselors when you're there, is definitely a big help. And then again, scholarships. April 1st, April is usually when we see kind of the winding down of the scholarships. Making sure that you're applying for those scholarships is very, very important. And then now, May 1st is the national deadline for applying or for deciding on that final college choice. All your hard work from 9th to 12th grade has come to a close, and you go ahead and make your final college choice, and then notify your counselor so they can keep track, and send off those documents. But again, I know it seems like a long process, but just working with seniors this year, there's no better feeling of making that final decision on your college and just seeing all the hard work come to a close. Ways to support. So on the parent side, helping your students set a timetable. Again, if you know your student is going to procrastinate, helping them set, a certain deadline when they're going to get certain steps done is a huge help. And that's something where, you don't have to be right over their shoulder. You have a discussion with them. They share their journal posts with you on Naviance, and you see those, and you're like, you got to get this done by then. Definitely, keeping them on a set schedule is certainly, wonderful. And again, it might be going to the college planning guide, printing it out, and, check marking when you getting stuff done, keeping it on your fridge when, knowing somewhere where you keep it, and just checking off when you get different steps done, I think would be a big help. Also, guiding and creating a preliminary list of colleges. So, 9th and 10th grade, when we're starting to build that Naviance list, sitting down with them and, having a conversation, what would you think you'd be interested in? Where would you want to go to college? And then adding those Naviance, schools together, doing that as, maybe one night over dinner, would be, kind of just starts the process of adding on Naviance. Also, big with assisting with the planning of college visits, with travel. Again, I talk about summer vacations, but I think that's a good time when you're, maybe going out of state to stop, and visit a couple colleges on the way. And again, maybe if, traveling is not going to be, something that can happen, working with them, on the virtual tours, or contacting, admissions counselors. And then last but not least, being that calming influence, encouraging your student to take one step at a time. I feel like this could be a 4-hour long conversation, trying to sum it up in about an hour. But, taking it one step at a time, being that influence that they know that they can go to you and have that conversation, that honest conversation about what they want to do, knowing that you're in their corner and that you're going to also, help them, talking with their counselor, talking with their teachers, especially, moving through from 9th to 12th grade, is definitely very, very important. And just knowing, at the end of the day, it's going to be their final decision, and that they know that they have your trust, and having that encouraging, that person behind them to get them through the college application process. I talked previously, or kind of mentioned in this presentation, the 2021 college boot camp that we had previously. if you go ahead and just click on this link, it's going to take you to that boot camp, and it's going to show you all the different videos that were recorded. I know Ms. Scheller wanted me to shout out the essay, the college essay from Johns Hopkins, wonderful video. And then we also had a panel discussion with different counselors. Here was the Naviance that goes into a little bit more detail that you can view. And again, there's quite a few videos you can watch on your own time that help with the discussion that we had here tonight. And I want to say that is the end. Yes. Did anyone have any questions? Michelle, did you have any questions for me?
That was very thorough. Great opportunity for students and parents to have an idea of what the students can do as they work their way through high school. That it's not to wait until your senior year, but it all starts your freshman year of high school, and what you need to do to prepare for college, but also it could apply to career and entering the workforce as well.
Exactly. Yes. Those self-discovery tools. If I know this was a college information night, but if you're like, trades, what I want to go into, going on this self-discovery. I mean, I think of a senior in particular who he had no idea. He went into that self-discovery, and he is dead set on going into welding. And again, it helps not just college, but career, doing those trades as well.
Yep. Great. And in addition to the district-wide college boot camp and the college essay support, I know that the guidance counselors in each of our high schools will be doing different initiatives and having different opportunities to have conversations with students and supporting them and the parents with the Fafsa and other things related to college, the college applications. What are some of the things that you have done over at Y High? Just to give people an example. Yeah,
so like for an example, like with the Fafsa, because that can be a really difficult task for families, especially if it's the first time you're filling it out. We actually had Warwick, their financial aid department, come on campus during the school day to assist students with it. And then they actually came, I think 3 times in total. And then they actually also came in the evening twice to meet with parents. So students can, come in during the day, get as far as they could, and then their parents could come, an evening, we didn't have them on the same day, but, a week later, come in the evening and fill it or finish it up. But again, I think it definitely helps having those different resources, especially with the FAFSA, where the student can get information and the parent as well. Right.
And students need to have the FAFSA completed. Like, you want to do it as early as possible, correct?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, it definitely helps, again, that October 1st, mark it in your calendars. It'll open up and you can go ahead and complete it as soon as you want.
And then is there a deadline date, like the last possible date when you could actually do the FAFSA?
So March 1st is the deadline date for most, for schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
I wouldn't wait until March 1st.
Right. And so you really need to also do the FAFSA so that the college can prepare the financial package that they're going to offer for your students and like any scholarship money that they might have, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you don't want to wait until March 1st. The sooner you get it done, now you're really just waiting on the college to send over their financial aid package.
Right. Okay. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. This is really good information and some good reminders to our high school friends about different things they can work on starting in that 9th grade year and all the way through to their senior year. So we really appreciate you with your awesome presentation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Thank you to our interpreters for their help as well. And if you have any questions about the college application process, or if you want to enter the workforce, about census or trade school, please make sure that you make contact with the guidance counselors in your high school. Thank you so much. Have a good night.